Recently, we saw how Wendy Williams was diagnosed with things like dementia. We saw her problems with her spouse, so I wanted to look at her birth chart to see exactly what caused the dementia. Or shoots, I pronounced it wrong. I meant dementia. There are so many things that can point to her mental illness. It's literally a bunch of placements that I came across. I even saw what caused the issues in our marriage. First, let's look at the dementia situation. Her dementia situation is related to speech and memory, so for that, you have to look at the Mercury placement. Honestly, nothing seems to be wrong with the Mercury placement in her sidereal or even moon chart. In sidereal, her Mercury rules the sixth house of diseases, but that doesn't indicate exactly that injuries and diseases will happen regarding her logic and memory. Or could it? Actually, it could. Her Mercury being in the Cancer sign, Ashlesha Nakshatra, can obviously show that her injuries are relative to the emotional side of her left brain. Well, Mercury rules the entire brain, but I like to dignify it as the left side of the brain, whereas the emotional side is more so the right side of the brain. But I think you guys got my point. The type of Mercury that Wendy Williams has in her birth chart might show a person that has problems with processing emotions. This still isn't what I was looking for, but it's a good culprit. Secondly, I saw, actually, this was the first thing I had saw was moon in Scorpio. I made a video on this moon placement because it can give someone PTSD. And in the clip where Wendy Williams was talking to Black China, people brought up how even with dementia, Wendy Williams still was thinking about past trauma with her ex-husband. A third culprit is the Rahu in the sixth house. Rahu there would give unusual diseases or injuries that are bad. Those diseases would be reoccurring as well. Over the years, Wendy has dealt with lots of injuries, even live on air. When I looked up her dementia disease, it was obviously unheard of even for me. I'm not a medical professional, so that makes things worse in regards to my knowledge of her dementia situation. The main culprit, I think, is her Saturn being in the second house. Not just because her Saturn Antardasha began in 2022, but her problem is with speech, right? The second house is speech, and with Saturn being there, regardless of its sign, it's supposed to limit and restrict her speech capabilities. Although I know astrologists like to say that Saturn is such a rewarding planet, but the effects of Saturn doesn't actually go away. Saturn is a planet that's supposed to train you and give discipline. It can make you so disciplined that the limitation effects remains the same at any age. Just like with those war veterans, they trained for military so long that their body doesn't know anything else but military practices. It's the same thing for a prisoner that was in prison for a long time. In Wendy's case, the Saturn in the second house can cause for things like speech impediment. Her moon chart has Saturn in the fourth house, and the fourth house is basically the house to look for in regards to someone's psychology. Saturn there can limit someone's emotions, making them not being overly emotional or caring. Saturn being fear and anxiety can weaken her mental state by making her depressed and suffering from anxiety, etc. I said this when I read Jungkook's birth chart. Saturn there is supposed to make someone take control over their home environment and residences, which I don't think Wendy has control over. I don't know. The Saturn being an Aquarius sign is supposed to make her lack emotions for the welfare in the country or USA state she was born in. You know how Aquarius is about the advancement of society. Well, her Saturn is supposed to limit that for the people in the country she lives at. I mention this because on Wikipedia I see how in 2020 petitions were made against her. I could talk about the moon chart forever. I see things like Jupiter ruling the second house of speech and is in the sixth house of injuries. It's self-explanatory. Wendy Williams has Graves' disease, and we know the second house deals with the face too. Graves' disease deals with the throat, right? And the thyroid. Oh yeah, the second house represents the throat. Oh yeah, a problem with her marriage is really just the Sun and Mercury conjunction in her seventh house. Shoots, the Sun being in that house alone would cause similar results. Mercury ruling her sixth house of legal disputes and fights is going into her house of marriage. Mercury being in the Ashalesha sign or nakshatra really shows both her and her spouse would have manipulative traits. The Mercury would make her want to learn about lying, deceit, or manipulation tactics that would occur in a marriage, as well make her want to learn about why her spouse can be so manipulative, especially with his communication, like with texts. The Mercury again makes her document the lies that would occur in a marriage as a part of her job. The Sun in the seventh house. I mean, if you watch my videos, you can easily understand, quote unquote, irreconcilable differences, close quotation marks, was the reason for her divorce in a marriage, or why her marriage ended in a divorce. It's what the Sun does wherever it goes. It makes people get into disagreements about who's right and who's wrong. I don't exactly read birth charts this way. I'm just freestyling. I could easily provide more information, but y'all aren't paying me to do this, so F it. I'm too lazy to talk about her tropical chart, so peace out. Anyways, follow me on the other apps. There will be more videos to come.